Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the Schmoedown Rundown. Introducing first, Frankie Stats Janisch. And their co-host, the man of controversy, Mr. Bryan Davis. And finally, Gilmore. Let's get ready to Schmoedown.
What's up, Movie Trivia Schmoedown fans? Welcome to the Schmoedown Rundown, the official after show for the Movie Trivia Schmoedown. I'm your host, Brad Gilmore, and I'm joined by my guy all the way in Chi-Town. And actually, he's from the south side of Chicago, but it's not as scary as it sounds. Frank Janisch, how you doing, man?
I'm doing real good, Brad, and I'm glad to clarify that the south side isn't that scary. It's really not. I made it out of there alive.
So, okay, south side Chicago, I've always heard Common, Kanye, and Frank Janisch all from the same place. I think you're in good company.
I would say so. Yeah, I like to throw my name in that ring. Why not?
You might as well do it. Well, hey, happy New Year to you, Frank Janisch. How'd you spend the end of your 2017 and the beginning of your 2018?
Well, I remember the end of my 2017 year. Don't remember the beginning of 2018, but I assume it was a good one. How did you do? How did you do, Brad?
You know, it's good. Me and the girlfriend, me and the lady, we hung out. You know, we went to our favorite place here in Houston. It's called Papa's. If anyone who's out of the state of Texas, if you don't know about Papa's, it's like this big chain of restaurants. They have Papa's Seafood House, Papa Dough, which is like Cajun style. You have Papa's Barbecue, Papa's Burgers, Papa's Steaks. You have Dot, which is a breakfast place. You have Papacitos, of course, great Mexican food. You have Papa's Delta Blue, and you have Yaya Mary's. A great collection of restaurants. If you ever visit Houston, eat at any of those places, and you'll be good to go. But we had good. We went out to that restaurant, and then we hung out. And actually, New Year's Day is our anniversary, so we got to hang out on our anniversary too. 4 years and counting. I am an amazing boyfriend because I remember the day. So it was good. 2018's been good so far. Reality wrestling's doing great. Everything's going good, man. So I'm excited, though. I'm excited. Frank, we're just mere weeks away from season 5 of the movie.
Oh, dude, I cannot wait. Given everything that happened at Spectacular, the way it ended, can't wait to see where the season picks up. I know we got some exciting couple first matches that are going to happen, but until then, we got some other stuff to hold us over.
We definitely have a lot of news, and I want to get to the news here in a moment, but I think I'd be remiss if I didn't mention something that everyone's been talking about. The Movie Trivia Schmoedown presented the Schmoedown Spectacular, and boy, was it spectacular. We had a marathon episode, over 4.5 hours of content that we did on the Schmoedown Spectacular, and congratulations to all the winners at Spectacular, and I want to thank all the fans of the Rundown who went and listened to that show. The thousands upon thousands of you, Frank and I send our most humble thank you for supporting this show and listening to what we had to say. And personally, I thank you to everyone from me for accepting me into the show at the very tail end of the season. But I'm excited to be here for the beginning, the entire season of season 5. Frank, anything you want to say about our 4.5 hour marathon?
Yeah, you just mentioning the runtime, I get tired just hearing it. So, man, that was, in fact, one of the most grueling episodes I think we've ever done. Certainly one of the longest, if not the longest. I don't know the exact number. If that is, I'm willing to bet that's the longest one. But
I would hope so.
Yeah, I would hope so, too, as well.
So, yeah, thanks everyone once again for supporting that. And I think as we're on the subject, let's get into some news. That's going down in the Movie Trivia Schmoedown as we speak. The off-season for any sport and any league, there's a lot of stuff that's going on. Who could forget a couple of years ago when Kevin Durant took his talents to the Bay Area, and when LeBron James decided he wanted to go to Miami and heat things up? A lot of things happen in the off-season, and Christian Harloff has been nothing but short of making announcements. A lot of big announcements going on. The first one I think we should get to, Frank, is the Schmoedown will no longer just be on the Collider Video YouTube page. you're also going to be able to, on the same feed that you get the Schmoedown Rundown, you will be able to get the Movie Trivia Schmoedown in audio form on iTunes week to week. What do you think about that, Frank?
Yeah, I think that's great. I know a lot of people out there have wanted that for a long time, and it's great to see it finally happen for those fans that want an audio version. Perhaps you want to listen to it, the second time around as opposed to watching it. So I think it's good for repeat listening if you're trying to catch up on some trivia, test your skills there in the workplace while you're zoning out in front of your boss. So pop in your headphones and listen to some Schmoedown, and you stay in it 24/7 by listening to it on whatever device you do your podcast on.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's just an amazing thing because a lot of the times, like these videos out there that I like to watch, even Collider video, a lot of the times I find myself just playing the video in my car and just listening to the audio as I drive on my commute on these long Texas highways. And I think that having the Movie Trivia Schmoedown in the same way, well, it's going to be awesome for the fans. And like I said, a lot of people like to listen to the Movie Trivia Schmoedown. They've asked for this, and Christian Harloff delivers Harlaclaws coming through right after the holiday season and giving gifts still that he had left in the stash to the fans of the Movie Trivia Schmoedown. And like I said, every show now has an audio form. I mean, the news has an audio podcast. Your favorite, sports shows have an audio podcast that comes out. So it just makes sense to continue that trend and to let the fans listen as well as watch. Now you have options. And when the variety is the spice of life, Frank.
Yeah, but I also think it's important to remember a lot of the experience of the Schmoedown is the visuals and the personalities you see on camera. So I think having the audio version as kind of a companion, if you will, after the fact, to brush up on some knowledge, on some trivia, like I said, it's a great way to keep pace with what's going on, so you don't forget, and you don't waste any of that data. You can keep it, and you can download the podcast on your phone. So to me, it's a real big data saver. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah, a data saver, no less. But yeah, you're right. A lot of it is visual. I wonder, do you think anything's going to be lost? Though, I mean, obviously, when you can see something, it's better. Utilizing more senses. But I think aside from maybe the entrances, right. I think everything else might still fall in line. Honestly. Yeah,
I'm trying to think, what would the tackle have sounded like on just audio only if I didn't watch it? So I hope and I think Ellis did do a pretty good job of describing what happened. So I think it would have been interesting. It's gonna be like one of those old radio shows, where they describe exactly what's going on. I mean, that'd be just like a sportscast. If you listen to a baseball game, basketball game, football game, it's going to be kind of like that, I would suppose. So it'll be interesting to listen to it audio only version. I rarely have ever done that when I just pop it on the YouTube. So it could be a kind of a different, fun experience. So I'm really looking forward to just listening to it once or twice each match and see how that goes.
Yeah, I mean, it could be interesting. Like you said, like listening to a sportscast on the radio. I mean, I remember in the ALCS from this past season, it was the Astros versus the Yankees. And I'm sorry to Christian Harloff's Yankees, but the Astros layeth the smacketh down on their candy asses. But I was actually driving to the airport for Game 7, and I had to listen to the radio broadcast, and I almost crashed my vehicle when we won. And it was not good. Don't worry, though. Elvis, the king of the road, that's the name of my silver F-150. He was okay. Well, I was okay. I made it to the airport. But it definitely, there is something about listening to an event like that does give you a different experience because you start doing theater of the mind. It's like listening to a song or a radio show from back in the day. You visualize it, or reading an audio or listening to an audio book. You start to visualize these things happening. So I think that if that's your thing and you want to just listen and not watch, now you have that option. And props to the Movie Trivia Schmoedown for doing that for us. I think it's great. The other thing that was announced that I think is interesting is Christian Harloff announced that the Schmoedown looks like it's going to be joining the ranks of other shows on Patreon. Patreon is and I'm not super clear on exactly what it is, but I think that it's a website to where if you like a podcast or a television show or a YouTube channel, you can go on there and support that show monetarily monthly and seek some sort of rewards for it, almost like a Kickstarter, but just a support system for your favorite shows so they can continue to grow and give you more content and give you more things. Is that pretty much it, Frank?
Yeah, I think you pretty much nailed it there. It's a way to directly support something you love, something that you want to see grow. And many people in the Schmoedown community want to see the Movie Trivia Schmoedown grow. And this is a great way to do it. This is a great way for the fans who've been wanting to see some more expansion within the show to help contribute to the efforts. Everyone over at that runs the Schmoedown, Christian and the crew over there, they work extremely hard. So this is a way to show your appreciation by not just clicking like and subscribe and commenting on the videos. That's all good and well, and we should still continue to do that because that does help the show. But if you really want to help out the show even more and you want to take a step further, Patreon's a great way to do that. I'm excited that they've set this up because I think this means we can get some more things that fans have been asking, perhaps, like the Schmoedown Trivia app coming to Android. It's not easy to do. It's not cheap to do. But with this Patreon, that can help make that a reality a little more quicker than perhaps without having a Patreon. So that's one of the benefits the Schmoedown can have by having a Patreon.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I think that you nailed it on the head there. But I've seen a lot of people want that Movie Trivia Schmoedown app, the game, on Android, and this is how you do it. You help the people who you love to watch. You help the creators create more. And that's what they're going to look forward to do with the Patreon. There are going to be all kinds of rewards and incentives for you to support other than just out of the love of your heart. And I want to say, though, when you help this Patreon out, guess what you're going to help out? You're going to help out the Schmoedown Rundown, baby. And you're going to help out me and Frank, which is nice, too, Frank. You know what? We need a little love as well.
I mean, a little love doesn't hurt. Sure, I could use a hug or two every once in a while. It wouldn't kill you, Brad.
A little love goes a long way. And I love Frank Janisch just like everyone listening to the show does. So I'm excited for the Patreon to get kicked off and so many other things with the Movie Trivia Schmoedown. I mean, Season 5 has all the makings of one of the biggest seasons, if not the biggest season, in Schmoedown history. I mean, I would venture to guess that nearly combined between the 3 Schmoedown Spectacular videos, I think that over 1 million people witnessed that event.
Yeah, I think you're pretty close, if not right on the number.
It's close. It's at least in the 900,000 to 1 million people range.
Yeah, and that's
incredible.
That's a big deal for the Schmoedown, and because this show is still growing, and to get those kind of numbers means a lot for the future of the Schmoedown. And so, again, thanks to everyone out there who watches and does the whole thing, as Christian likes to say, comment, like, subscribe, that whole deal. And it's really going to help, I think, push for the Schmoedown, especially given how much hard work they put into this. You could tell immediately from the very beginning of the Spectacular how much work and care went into the Spectacular. So for it to get those kind of numbers, it's I'm happy to see that it did as well as it did, and it's because it's one of the best things they've ever done, if not the best thing they've ever done. So I'm glad it's getting the recognition and the views that it deserves, and I hope we keep building upon that, and I think we can.
I definitely think we can, and that's just what I'm saying. So many people are fans of the Movie Trivia Schmoedown. I mean, 300,000 on just one video is incredible, and across all 3, over 900,000 people. So if everyone out there listening can help out the Movie Trivia Schmoedown get bigger, why would you not do it? And I think that's what the Patreon's going to be able to do. It's going to give the fans that opportunity to do that. Frank, couple other real quick things that I'd like to touch on that have been announced by Christian Harloff. First off, it looks like we're going to get a match that I didn't even know that I wanted, but when the idea was thrown out there, I said, that's a hell of a match. I like this idea. And to quote Christian Harloff on the Movie Trivia Schmoedown Facebook page, he said, "My brain thinks Schmoedown when I sleep. I woke up and said, Malton versus Mance. Leonard Malton versus Scott Mance." What do you think about the potential of that match?
When I read that, I said, holy crap, I want to see that right now. That's a great idea. I would, even if that was the debut match of the season, that'd be amazing too. But whenever we get that, if we get that, I hope we get that, because it's not confirmed. It's just something he threw out there. But I think, why wouldn't that happen? Why wouldn't these guys do that? We know Leonard Maltin has said that he would like to come back and give it another go. Mance has always been a big supporter of the Schmoedown and Schmoeville. So I think there's a real good chance that we could see that match this year. So if that does happen, I wouldn't be surprised if it breaks the internet.
It might break the internet. Scott Mantz, when I first started watching the Schmoedown, was actually one of my favorite competitors. And I think just based on his energy and the enthusiasm that he brings to the shows and his character, his persona, everything about Scott Mantz is actually hilarious. And I think that we need guys like him in the Movie Trivia Schmoedown. But think about this. He's reviewed movies for such a long time. Leonard Maltin, the king of movie reviews, as far as I'm concerned. I think those two facing one another would be pretty spectacular. But let me, to my knowledge, they've both competed most recently in teams. Is that right, Frank?
Yeah, Leonard Maltin and his daughter Jessie, they faced off against CinemaSins, I believe it was.
I think so.
And so it was a good effort, but I think they got a taste of it and wanted. And now that they know what it's like, they want another go at it, another crack at it. So I'm looking forward to it. This has to happen. I think Christian's going to do everything in his power to help make that happen. And I think I hope that Mantz and Maltin, Leonard Maltin, will also do the same to try and make this happen, because it's just a good time. This is going to be one of those good. Sit back and relax, enjoy yourself. One of those entertaining matches, and it's one of these matches that I now need to see.
Yeah,
I do.
I mean, and the thing is, you would have the numbers on it, but I think Scott Mantz, has he performed better as a singles or better in teams, in your opinion?
Well, he's been up and down. I mean, he can be very good in either division. So.
If he gets movie release dates, he's the best.
It's a wrap.
It's a wrap. Right?
We at least would like to think so. So, it'll be interesting to see the categories on the wheel and how he's doing in the first round, because he can get a little ahead of himself. We've seen that, and that's why Jason Inman's a good teammate for him. And Leonard Maltin, he played in teams with his daughter the first time. Now seems like this could be a singles match. So for him, and him knowing how everything works and what it's like there at the studio and how the game operates, he's a little more familiar. So we could see an even better Leonard Maltin. So it could. Why couldn't this be one of the great matches the Schmoedown has ever seen? It certainly could be.
Well, you know what? If anything else, with Scott Mantz there, we know it's going to be entertaining. That's what we know.
Oh, absolutely.
So that's why I'm looking forward to more Scott, the Madman Mantz, in the Movie Trivia Schmoedown in 2018, which still doesn't even sound like a real number. But moving along. I think also Christian Harloff, in the middle of us recording this, made an announcement, and Frank, maybe you have more info on it. If you don't, whatever. Christian Harloff just announced that Mike Carlson will be making his Schmoedown debut in season 5. I'm not familiar with Mike Carlson, and that's what I was going to ask you, Frank. Do you know Mike Carlson?
Well, this is news to me right now. Like you said, as we're recording, I didn't even know that popped up. Mike Carlson, not familiar with him, but now that I know his name, I'm looking forward to getting to know who this guy is and trying to figure out what he can bring to the Schmoedown. So I understand he's an actor / producer. So we'll see. Did he Harloff mention who he might play against, or no?
No announcement on a potential opponent. Just announced that he will be making his debut. And it seems like everyone in the Schmoedown Facebook page is excited about this. A myriad of different gifts saying about time to yes, queen, and many things. So I think a lot of people are excited about this. Someone said, at Bryan Ramirez said, the Prince makes his debut. So a lot of people excited for Mike Carlson's debut in the Movie Trivia Schmoedown. Speaking of Facebook, speaking of social media, we need to put it out there. We have a new official Movie Trivia Schmoedown, Schmoedown Rundown, I should say, Twitter page, and that is at Schmoedown RD. That's at Schmoedown RD. That is the one and only source for the Schmoedown Rundown. If you haven't given it a follow, join the people. Join the people for the People's Podcast. And go follow us at Schmoedown RD on Twitter. Frank, I think the remainder of this episode, we should talk about an event that's taking place before the official kickoff of Season 5, and it's to acknowledge some of the great moments, competitors, and matches that we saw in 2017 Season 4 of the Movie Trivia Schmoedown. It is the Schmoedown Awards, Frank Janisch, and we have the ballot. We know who's nominated. I say you and I, me and you, however you want to phrase it, are going to go through the entire ballot, and we're going to pick and predict our winners for the award show, and maybe if there are any awards that we think that aren't on the list, that didn't make the ballot, any nominees or awards, we make them up here on the spot. What do you think, Frank? Let's go to the ballot. Do you have it in front of you?
I do have the official ballot in front of me.
Okay, Frank, this is a big moment for you. All right?
God.
All right.
No.
All right, come on. Don't Faye Dunaway this.
All right.
All right?
All right, I got this. All
right?
All right.
Don't mess this one up. This isn't the Oscars.
Okay.
All right, we don't read the wrong names. Don't say La La Land. Let's start off from the get-go. What's the first award going down at the Schmoedown Awards?
All right, so our first award here is Entrance of the Year in the Singles Division. We've got Rachel Cushing, her Lord of the Rings and her Geekdom entrance. Bryan Chandler's Harley Quinn entrance. We have Mark Ellis when he entered the free-for-all as a big carrot. And then we have Ellis again, but teaming up with Stacey Howard, the Ultimate Schmoedown match they had. They had a coordinating entrance there. We have William Bibiani when he transported into the Schmoedown like the Predator. And then we have the former champ, Mark Yodi Riley, with his Karate Kid entrance. That was the entrance that ultimately, I guess you could say, helped him reclaim the title from Roca. So, Brad, hearing those options, who are you taking as entrance of the year? Because I'll tell you, this was a tough one.
It is a tough one. There are actually a lot of great entrances on here. I remember all of these, and that's obviously why they're nominated. And this is for singles, by the way. These aren't team entrances. And this is a hard one, but I'm going to go with Mark Riley. I'm going to go with Mark Riley because, one, he is the Karate Kid. I have a feeling that that's actually him in real life. And two, like you said, it helped catapult him to that championship against John Roca. I can still remember him bowing after he won the championship. He was in full gimmick the entire time. I just love the entrance. Now, as a runner-up, though, for that, this is my dark horse pick. I think Rachel Cushing with her Lord of the Rings entrance in Inner Geekdom left an impression on many a Schmoedown fan. So I think that's my dark horse, but my pick is Mark Riley.
Well, I don't blame you for that. So I wavered between Rachel, Bryan, and Mark Riley. Rachel, her Galadriel entrance with the effects and her reciting the speech from the movie was one of the first times we saw some heavy effects used in the Schmoedown. It was really cool to see, and Rachel did a great job with that. She had the whole outfit and the speech down and the music and everything. It just was really well put together. Bryan, her Harley Quinn outfit in the match against Kalinowski, she comes out as Puddin', the little jab to Puddin' towards Kalinowski. And she had, the jacket, the shirt, the whole get up from the Suicide Squad movie. And then Mark Riley comes out as the Karate Kid, limps, does the crane kick and all that. And I waver between these three. And I liked all these entrances, but I wavered between these three. And I kind of smirked a little bit when you said Mark Riley, because I, in fact, did pick Mark Riley, Karate Kid entrance. It's as good as the other entrances were. Something about Mark Riley and the circumstances that he was in kind of adds to the entrance for me. He's been beaten down. He's lost the belt. He's coming back for it. He's finally got his shot, and he kind of walks out, limping like Danielson, and then I guess the outcome of the match helps solidify the match for me, or the entrance rather for me. I thought it was great. He got the whole the gi and all that stuff. So it was just fun to see Mark Riley have fun with it. And that's part of the reason why I picked this one for entrance of the year. And I know a lot of people are probably going to lean towards Bryan, and probably another good chunk will lean towards Rachel. And I cannot blame you at all for those choices.
No, Bryan had a good one, too, with Harley Quinn. But I think Bryan might win for another entrance. Let's get into the next category. That's entrance of the year for teams. Who are the nominees, Frank?
We got 6 Degrees when they did their American Psycho entrance against DC Movie News. Then we also have Wolves of Steel, their It entrance when Riley and Clark Wolf came out as Georgie and the clown It. And then 6 Degrees, once again, of course, in the team division here, coming out as Poison Ivy, that was Stacey Howard, and Catwoman was Brianne Chandler. And then late to the party, Robert and Vanessa came out as Revenge of the Nerds. And then Tough Beats did the Billy Madison entrance. That was actually also the same match against 6 Degrees when they did the Poison Ivy Catwoman stuff. So 2 entrances from one match. What are we thinking here, Brad?
I'm going to go with 6 Degrees. 6 Degrees is on, I know they're on here twice, but I'm going with 6 Degrees for Poison Ivy and Catwoman. I thought, this is why. Because, they were kind of playing up their heel persona anyway, right? And the two most dominant female villains of all time in comic book history and in comic book movie cinematic history are Poison Ivy and Catwoman. Catwoman by Michelle Pfeiffer, not Halle Berry. And, of course, Poison Ivy from Uma Thurman, although the movie isn't great.
Right.
As a young man, Uma Thurman, Poison Ivy,
hey,
oh, my brother, testify. Do you know what I'm saying?
I hear you.
So that's why I picked that one. I just think that it fit them. It fit them. It fit their characters. Stacey Howard's already got the red hair. She was halfway there.
And you can't forget Jay Washington. Your guy, Jay Washington, coming out as Bane as well. So
guy, Jay Washington. My guy, Jay Washington, who has some professional wrestling training. And in that awful movie I referenced earlier, Bane was portrayed by a professional wrestler, or at least had a luchador mask on. Who do you go with, Frank, in this entrance of the year for teams?
Yeah, this one was a little more easy for me to pick, and I did pick 6 Degrees, but not the one you picked. I picked the American Psycho entrance because I love the fact that Brianne and Stacey came out, put out pictures of Kalinowski and Adam Gertler, and they just started whacking the crap out of their picture and stomping on them, taking the axe to them, and then just sat down and, went to business. So I like that entrance because it's a little more physical. They're doing a little bit more as opposed to just dressing up and walking around, which is all great and highly what's the word I'm looking for? Produced, if you will. I'll get up. It's very, very elaborate, and I appreciate that. But I like the physicality of this American Psycho entrance, and that's why I picked that one as entrance of the year.
Okay. So we both think 6 Degrees is taking home a statue.
Oh, yeah.
Just for different appearances. The next category we have on the Schmoedown Awards for the Movie Trivia Schmoedown is the Inner Geekdom / Star Wars Player of the Year. Frank, give them to me.
Yeah, we got Jason Inman. He went 2-1, winner of Fatal 4-Way, wins the Inner Geekdom Championship at Spectacular. We have Sam Witwer. Everyone knows about him. He went 2-1, winner of the Fatal 5-Way, won the Star Wars Championship at Spectacular. We have Hector Navarro, the former Inner Geekdom champ. He was 2-2, and he defended it just once against Johns, did lose it to Jason Inman. Ken Knapsack, he won the Star Wars title at Celebration, then loses it to Sam Witwer at Celebration, no less, on the final question. And then Jay Washington, he beat Robert Meyer Burnett and went wire to wire against Rachel Cushing and Jason Inman in that match. So, Brad,
man,
you got your guy on this one. What are you doing?
My guy, Jay Washington. As much as I would love to pick Jay Washington, and because I love Jay Washington, I do.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's hard, very difficult, to not pick Sam Witwer. Sam Witwer, like you said, he's 2-1, winner of that Fatal 5-Way, which was, I think, what you called your Super Bowl for the year, was that Star Wars Fatal 5-Way. And then they said, hey, I know you like that Super Bowl. Let's give you the Super Bowl, the World Series, the Stanley Cup, the World Cup, the NBA Finals, and WrestleMania, by giving you that Iron Man match for the for the Star Wars Championship at Spectacular, which was the match of the year. And obviously, we're going to get into that later. But wow, coming down to last question, final seconds, showed that clip to Booker T himself, and Booker was like, "Wow, that's some good. That's some good stuff." Let's just say that's what he said. He said that's some good stuff. And
he said the word stuff.
yes, he is running for mayor. Okay.
Oh.
in Houston, Texas, 2019. Booker T for mayor.com. Anyway, I think that Sam Witwer is a shoo-in for this award. If he doesn't win it, it's a travesty of justice. And but speaking of justice, Jason Justice Inman had a great year. Hector Navarro, I say, I'll put him at the. Even though he was a champion, I just don't think that in the fans' mind he was the most dominant in Star Wars or Inner Geekdom. Ken Knapsack, you won the title but weren't able to defend it. Jay Washington, Jay Washington might be the runner-up for this. I mean, beating Robert Meyer Burnett, the former champion, taking Cushing and Inman to the limit in that fatal four-way. I mean, there's a case to be made for Jay Washington to be maybe not player of the year, but at least a runner-up, or maybe Mr. Congeniality at the very least. So, what do you think? Who's your pick? Mine's Sam Witwer. I think it's a hands down.
This was actually a little more easy than I thought it was going to be, and I ended up going with Jason Inman. And here's why. This guy went on an incredible run to get just to the title match. He had to go on an incredible run. He was answering like at 80%, a ridiculous rate. And then he goes up against Hector Navarro, who has a great reputation in the Inner Geekdom. He's defended it. He won it from Robert Meyer Burnett. He nearly won it in the inaugural Inner Geekdom event at Spectacular 1 last year. So the guy is a tough competitor. And Jason Inman, I wasn't sure anyone could dethrone Hector Navarro. I think he's that good. I still think he's that good. But he ran into a Jason Inman who was determined and focused, and he just came in there through this Inner Geekdom League this year and just destroyed everybody. I mean, he put up some good fights, and he took on some good competition like Rachel Cushing and Jay Washington in that Fatal 5-Way match. And Sam Witwer is a close second for me. You can't say anything more about performance in both those Star Wars matches, the Fatal 5-Way and the Iron Man match. But to me, Jason Inman, this guy, he went on an incredible run, and so I got to give it to him.
Okay, I understand. I mean, Jason Inman was definitely full of piss and vinegar going into that championship match at Spectacular. I mean, it was his density. I mean,
yes,
it was his destiny.
It popped me to you.
There you go. Milk, chocolate.
Let's not go down this road, Brad.
I never thought that I would be able to sneak that one into a conversation. Okay, let's go into Manager of the Year. Manager of the Year, a big category. A lot of great managers in the Movie Trivia Schmoedown. Frank, why don't you give me the nominees?
Yeah, they got Tom Dagnino up here, but I think it should be Bobby Gucci. Might be a typo, but it's Tom Dagnino of the Patriots. You got Jay Washington, formerly the Misfits. I don't know what's going on with them. We're going to find out later this upcoming season. We got Ricky Hayberg, who manages critically acclaimed, that's Whitney Seibold, and William Bibbiani. And then you got Roxy Stryer, who helped form the league with Kalinowski, Gert Laird, Johnny LaQuaso, all those guys. And then you got Emma Fife coming in at the tail end, making a coup of sorts, snatching up Andraco, and then enlisting Sam Witwer after his huge Star Wars victory. There's some pretty good managers up here who did some pretty big things. How do you see it, Brad?
You know, I mean, there's a lot of great managers in the Movie Trivia Schmoedown. We know that. Emma Fife is going to have a hell of a year. Season 5. I want to get Emma Fife on this show, by the way. I have a lot to talk to Emma Fife about. I'm extending the invitation right now. Roxy, Ricky, I'm putting them at the bottom of the pack. No disrespect to them, but, just thinking about the managers this year, I don't think they left as big of a mark as the next two I'm going to get to. Jay Washington, once again, that's my guy. I like Jay Washington. I do. I like Jay Washington a lot. Jay Washington came out to my live show, Booker T and I's live show in Los Angeles, California, and I'll be forever grateful for him. We were trying to raise money for victims of Hurricane Harvey, and he, Roca, Riley, all showed up to support, as well as Johnny LaQuasto. So shout out to all those guys. But I think the clear-cut manager of the year is Tom Dagnino. Tom Dagnino had the Patriots, which are the greatest team in Movie Trivia Schmoedown history. They had Ken Knapsack, who was champion there for a moment, but they recruited Ken Knapsack. For a minute, they had Robert Byron Burnett, who was the champion. They have Grace Hancock, of course, which definitely shoots you up anybody's list. So I think Tom Dagnino is Bobby Gucci, is without a doubt. There's not a doubt in my mind that he is the manager of the year. Frank?
There is a lot of potential for a couple other managers on this list to really make a name for themselves had they been able to accomplish some of the things they set out to do. Namely, Jay Washington. If he could have recruited Clark Wolf or Rachel Cushing to join the Misfits, I mean, that's a hell of a get if you can get them in your faction. And we could be talking about a completely different Schmoedown league at this moment. It had that transpired, but it didn't. Emma Fyffe, she comes late in the game with Andreyko, which is a great get. I know he's been a little up and down, but the guy really knows his stuff. And if you're going to start your faction off, there's not a whole lot of other people you could get ahead of him until you get to Andreyko, because Andreyko, he's great. It's a great get. And then she snatches up Sam Witwer, who's an absolute beast in the Star Wars. And I think also probably in regular movie trivia, we've seen him compete against Freddie Prinze Jr. a while back, and his general movie knowledge was pretty good. So who knows if he delves into general movie trivia, not just Star Wars going forward. That'd be interesting. But had Emma Fyffe had more time this season, she possibly could have overtaken my number one pick, and it's Bobby Gucci. It's got to be. This guy, he got Ken Knapsack. He got Ken Knapsack. Yep. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's I didn't see it coming. He delivered on turning the league upside down. It's hard to follow through on your predictions, on your mission in the Schmoedown, because the Schmoedown is so unpredictable. But the mere fact that he was able to get Ken to flip, to come over to his side of town after Ken had just been on a mission to destroy the Patriots, Tom Dagnino, and I'm assuming Grace and JTE and all them, said, hey, why don't you come and join us? And they did enough to get him over there, and it's a hell of a feat. Tom Dagnino at the helm. I mean, he helped get JTE to the finals in that Ultimate Schmoedown Singles tournament, because two of them, I don't know, they got some special magic mojo, because as soon as JTE and Tom Dagnino made amends, it's been sky's the limit for them. I mean, they've been on a tear, especially in the team division. So it's Tom Dagnino, and it's his to lose again next year. But I tell you what, Emma Fyffe, she's going to have some say in that. So I'm looking forward to seeing Emma Fyffe and Tom Dagnino, Bobby Gucci, go at it next year, because she's still one of his, and he ain't going to let that go. So it's not good for Bobby Gucci. But that being said, Tom Dagnino, he did a ton of stuff this year. I can't wait to see what happens next year.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think the feud, a potential feud of the year candidate from season 5, which hasn't even happened, I'm looking in the future, is definitely Tom Dagnino versus Emma Fyffe. That's a feud of the year candidate already. It's going to be on this list next year. Let's go into comeback player of the year. I think this one's going to be an interesting one. I think we're going to be all over the place on this. Give me the candidates, give me the nominees, and then let's debate this one out.
All right, so this is comeback player of the year. This starts with JTE. He was winless in 2016. And now he goes to 5-2 this year, beats Bibiani, Ken Knapsack, Mike Kalinowski in the tournament, McWeeny in the tournament, Jeff Snyder, his buddy, his teammate, in the tournament. And then you got Jason Inman, you got Christian Harloff, former champ, former commish. I don't know what he is right now. Sam Levine, and then you got Jeff Snyder. We had some really good names, a lot of good performances from all of these players this year. Which one had the most to come back from, you think, Brad?
Oh, man. I think the one who had the most to come back from. I'm glad that you phrased it in that way. That means this is the comeback player of the year. Not just someone who had a good 2017, someone who crapped the bed in 2016 and then proved us all wrong the following year. I think a lot of people, when it comes to the player of the year conversation, which we're going to get to, are going to say Sam Levine, JT, Sam Levine, JT, Sam Levine, JT. I think that's what a lot of people are going to say. But for this particular category, who came back and proved us all wrong? That's JTE. I mean, to go from being winless in 2016 to being 5-2, beating William Bibiani, Ken Knapsack, Mike Kalinowski, Drew McQueenie, and Jeff Snyder, his tag team partner, that's a Hall of Fame list that you beat in 1 year after not winning a single thing the year prior, and also continued to be dominant in teams division. And you know what? If you technically want to say, he had a comeback against Above the Line in that spectacular match for the championship. So he lived up to that name, and I think this category for the entire year. That's why JTE, Little Evil, that's my pick for Comeback Player of the Year.
Yeah, I'm just going to go out and say it. JTE Comeback Player of the Year. You were winless last year. You come back. You retain your team title. I know that's not really part of this here, but I do take that into some consideration. And then look at the names he beaten. Bibbiani, first match of the year.
Boom.
That set the tone. That set the tone. Beats Bibbiani. That's no small feat. And then takes on McWeeny and Snyder in high pressure situations in the tournament. I did say he played Kalinowski in the tournament. That's not correct, but he played McWeeny and Snyder in the tournament. Anyways, I just want to correct myself. But beating McWeeny and Snyder, those are no slouches, and you're doing it in a tournament, high stakes. Sam Levine started the year off 0-2. Didn't have a horrible last year, 2016. But he started off 0-2. Got the free-for-all. Got a bit of a lucky bounce there being so late in the free-for-all, but that's the hand he was dealt, the number he picked, but and he won it. So and then two tournaments, the singles titles and the team titles, but JTE, man, I know he lost to Sam Levine in the singles tournament, but he beat some heavy hitters this year, and so does Sam Levine. But again, JTE, he was winless last year.
He didn't have a win. Not one.
Didn't have a win.
I mean, how do you not the Comeback Player of the Year?
Yeah.
If you win one match, you're the Player of the Year. Let's say this, though. I mean, JTE, some people might have said in 2016 he was the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, and this year, I mean, when Cleveland won a game, everyone thought they were the greatest thing ever. I mean, they haven't won a game in they've only won one game in like 3 seasons or something like that. Something horrendous. Someone said, I think 3 Star Wars movies have come out in the time that they've only had one win. So, I mean, that's telling you something right there. But to go back, JTE, I think, is the clear-cut winner of this category. And I think there's a reason his name's at the top, because he is everyone's top choice. This next one's fun, because I think this next category is interesting for a multitude of reasons, and I'm going to get into it. But Celebrity Match of the Year, Frank Janisch, run the names, and let's talk about the games.
Yeah, we got some more celebrity matches this year, enough to make this a category, which is a great sign for the league. But first off, we got the cast from It. All the kids from It came in for a free-for-all style match. Then you had some of the cast members from Glow come in. That's where Bryan and Clark, they formed 3-person teams, and they went at it. That was a fun match. The Power Rangers, that cast came in for a pretty entertaining match. And the Party Boat cast match, in which Snyder and Roca joined in. That was a lot of fun to watch. And then you had Jonathan Rhys-Meyers and Brian Goodman, actor and director, doing battle in a singles match. Brad, which one sticks out to you on this one?
So when I looked at the category, two of them stuck out. The first one was the Glow cast. I think it was fun to see Bryan and Clark get into the mix and kind of have, what's the game show I'm thinking of? The game show where there's a celebrity and a random person teamed up together, and they have to ask each other questions without saying the word.
Oh, yeah.
Pyramid.
Pyramid? Yeah.
Is that Pyramid?
Yeah, there's another show, too. I can't think of it. But, yeah, Pyramid's one of them.
I'm thinking of Pyramid. Donny Osmond was the host. Is that what I'm thinking? Okay.
Yeah.
So Pyramid, and that's kind of what the feel I got here is like, okay, we're going to give you somebody who, might be a little bit more of an expert in this field, and then, you can, fill in, right? And I think that's why I like that one. But when we talk about entertainment, I got to go with the Power Rangers match because it was one of the first. Was it one of the first celebrity matches this year? I feel like it was. Yeah,
it was one of the first. I know Jonathan Rhys-Meyers and Brian Goodman was prior, I believe, if I get my timeline correct. But yeah, Power Rangers, I think, might have been the second.
Might have been the second, and it was one where it was like they were coming through to promote a movie, which I thought was a great sign for the Schmoedown. Christian and I remember talking about that, and I was like, oh wow, that's an awesome get. And I think that match was just entertaining. And honestly, I'm going to be with Perry Nimroff on this one. I love the Power Rangers movie. I thought that was a great movie. I think Rita Repulsa aside, I thought it was a good movie. I really enjoyed it. So I think that the Power Rangers film was good, and I think that their match was the celebrity match of the year just for entertainment. I just had fun with it. And yo, Becky G, what's good, girl? That's all I'm saying.
Oh, hey, don't even get. Oh, yeah, I hear you there. I'm not saying I immediately followed her Twitter account after that match, but I might have. Anyway, so
Becky G, what's up, girl?
I had to go with the cast of It. I love those kids. Those kids were hilarious. I like what they did after one of them were eliminated. They put them on a couch, had a camera and a microphone over there, and those kids are just an absolute thrill. Very funny, very entertaining. Power Rangers was a close second one for me. I liked the energy that they brought and how much fun they had. But the Glowcast one, that one was also really fun. This was actually really more tough than I thought it was going to be, because the Glowcast, we had some kayfabe in the beginning of this match to set up the match, which was new and different, and it made sense considering the type of show Glow is and what kind of the show the Schmoedown is. So they both worked well together. I hope perhaps we could see another Glow match in next season, because Glow's going back again. So, but I ultimately did go with the kids from It. Those you give me good entertaining kids, you're going to sell me almost every time.
Home Alone. Okay, let's go into the next category here, which is, this is the one we actually might throw down on. I thought we might throw down on Comeback of the Year, but we agreed. Moment of the Year. The moment of a singular moment. This one is one where I stared at the ballot for quite some time to try to make a selection. Frank, read me, read you, read the people, the nominees.
All right, here we go. We got 6 moments we got to go through here. Mark Andreyko clears the table at the free-for-all. I think everyone knows by now he eliminates Roca, Merle, McWeeny, and Bibiani in one fell swoop. Hell of a moment. Sam Witwer beats Ken Napzok on the last question in the Iron Man match at the Spectacular. One of the greatest all-time moments in the Schmoedown history. That's why it's on this list. Roca, he beats Merle for the title, and just his reaction alone is one of the great moments in Schmoedown history. Ken Napzok betrays Rachel Cushing and joins the Lions Den. And then you got Mark Andreyko. He dresses up as Finn Draco, or whatever you want to call him. He plays Makuga in a retirement-style match. And then you have, from the Spectacular 2, Andrew Guy tackling John Roca, the tackle. Brad, this is a tough one. This might be one of the toughest ones on the ballot. How did you get through this one?
Well, there's several on here. There are 3 that I think could easily take it. And so let me talk about the first one, though. Let's say, and I've said it on this show a couple times, Mark Andreyko clearing the table at free-for-all was so shocking, was so unexpected. It was one of those things to where, okay, sometimes when I'm listening to some hip hop song, right, and the rapper's going, he's hitting his flow, and then he says like a line that I thought was just bananas and I thought was crazy, I have to hit stop. I have to hit stop on my iPhone, or I have to hit stop on the speakers. I say, okay, whoa, that was crazy. I remember one time Jay-Z said, "I'm gonna raise hell till it's heaven." And I was like, oh, so let me stop. I got to digest that for a second. It was too dope. And that's what happened with Mark Andreyko clearing the table. I couldn't believe it. I had to hit stop on the keyboard. I hit the space bar. I had to process the moment. The next one was just recently. Sam Witwer, Ken Napzok. We already talked about it here today. The last question of the Iron Man match in the Star Wars match at the Spectacular 2. Whew, man, that was one of the things where, you start getting, it was like when I was watching the World Series with the Astros in it, not to go back to that, but it was like every game I had to stand up and like walk out of the room when it'd be like a full count with bases loaded and 2 outs. It was like one of those moments in the World Series, and it was like that for this Star Wars match. I was standing up watching this on my iPhone, and I couldn't believe what I was seeing. And then there's very few things that you could say just, the something, right? You say when Michael won that championship, he hit the shot. When LeBron came back from 3-1 and Iguodala was dribbling down the court and about to hit that layup in Game 7, LeBron hit the block. There are very few things that we can refer to with the something, and everyone knows what you're talking about, right? The puffy shirt. We know what I'm talking about. This one, the tackle. As soon as you say it to any Schmoevillian out there, they immediately know what you're talking about. And I think that's the reason this is my new moment of the year. When you can just say the tackle and everyone knows what you're referring to. It caused so much controversy, so much talk online, on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, wherever, MySpace, Friendster, everywhere. Zynga. It caused chaos online and in the comments. That's why the tackle is my moment of the year.
Is there really a wrong answer on here? I mean, there's
not a wrong answer.
There's almost all equally great options here. Some stick out a little more than others. I think you laid them out. Mark and Draco, the clearing, free for all. Sam Whitwer, Ken Knapsack at the buzzer, the tackle. I mean, you're right about the tackle. You say the tackle, everyone knows what you're talking about now. But I didn't pick any of those.
What?
I did not.
How? How do you not pick any of those? Those are the top
here's
three.
The moment. Now, here's the moment of the year for me. It's Ken Knapsack betraying Rachel Cushing, and here's why. Not only did the ripple effect from this moment is twofold. It affects Rachel Cushing and the Nerds Watch. We saw what happened between Nerds Watch and Blofield's cat. It affects the dynamic of the Schmoedown itself in terms of storyline going forward. What's going to happen with the Lions Den and Ken, his partner, or is he going to team up with Dagnito to face Rachel in the future against her future teammate? There's a lot of things that come out of this moment by Ken betraying Rachel. A lot of stuff comes out of this. A lot of stuff can build off of this. It's a big, big moment because I don't care who you were, you did not see this coming. I don't care who you are. If you tell me you saw this coming, you're lying. You're lying. I don't care who you are. And maybe you really believe that, but I'm just not going to believe you. Okay, I'm sorry. But you did. I did not see this coming, and it broke my heart because Ken was the consummate good guy. He had been railing against the Patriots, the Lions Den, talking about their hubris. It's going to be their downfall. Ken betraying Rachel absolutely broke my heart. While the tackle is a great moment, it's a fun moment, it lives right there in that moment. And it has some repercussions because Andrew Guy is suspended. Okay. Mark and Draco, it lives in that moment. It lives there. Sam Whitwer beating Ken Knapsack at the last question, it lives in that moment. Ken Knapsack, that moment has so much more that comes out of it that's going to last into 2018. That's why I picked it as moment of the year.
That's a controversial pick for me. I understand it, and you laid out great logic there, Frank, but I just don't. I think that at best is the fourth most important moment of the year. And you know, and I like like I said, you made a good argument. You made a good argument, but I just can't see that. I just don't see that as the moment of the year. I think the tackle is a GIF. When you can GIF something, is it GIF or GIF? Have we decided on this yet? It's GIF, right?
I think there's a council that's working on it. I don't know.
Okay, well, hopefully the Jedi Council was working on it right now. But when you can turn something into a GIF, when something becomes a memeable moment, I think that's shows the impact of it, and that's what Andrew Guy and the tackle brought.
You don't think I can make a GIF out of Ken unveiling from the cloak?
Actually, that's a pretty good one. That's a pretty good one. I'm sorry. But you know what I want to say though, and I wanted to say this when it happened, and I forgot. When Ken Knapsack revealed himself from the cloak, I know a lot of people thought Star Wars, right? Obviously, the Sith Lord. For me, being a wrestling fan, there's an infamous wrestling storyline or a famous wrestling storyline where back in the late 90s, The Undertaker had the Ministry of Darkness, right? And this was like his underground, like Legion of Doom almost, right? And it was The Undertaker, it was Kane, it was Paul Bear, it was the Acolytes, it was a guy named Midian, it was a guy named Viscera, right? And it just seemed like this unstoppable force, the Ministry of Darkness. It had a badass name, too. But for a long time, there was this storyline about the higher power. And this guy, whomever it was the higher power. They were talking about how he was influencing things that were going on behind the scenes. And Vince McMahon, he said, I want to know who it is. Steve Austin was trying to figure out who the higher power was. For weeks and weeks and weeks, we wanted to know. Finally, this guy comes out on Monday Night Raw in this big cloak. He walks down to the ring. He reaches down for his hood. And when he unveils himself, it's Vince McMahon. And he says, it was me, Austin. It was me all along. And it was one of the greatest moments when I was a kid because I did not believe it. And that's when Ken Napzok did that, that's what it reminded me of more than anything was Vince McMahon revealing the cloak saying, it was me, Austin. It was me all along. Damn it. So that was a good moment, but I still think the tackle is the moment. It's the greatest moment from the year of 2017, season 4 of the Movie Trivia Schmoedown. But when there's moments, that's fine. But a match of the year is a whole different thing. We have a ton of matches of the year to go through. What are our nominees, Frank Janisch?
Well, I mean, it was a long year. We had a lot of matches, so we do have a lot of nominees here. We got, first off, the Iron Man match. Then we have the JTE McWeenie match, the Ultimate Schmoedown match, in which it went to sudden death, and JTE ultimately won that one. You got MODOK versus the Patriots, another sudden death match. This is, again, for the team title. You have Patriots versus Above the Line, a team title match in the Spectacular that we just had. We all know how that went down. Incredible ending. Roca versus Merle when Roca finally got his hands on that singles title. And then Roca versus Riley versus Merle, the triple threat at Collision, in which Merle was able to defeat both Riley and Roca. You have Nerds Watch versus Team Action, one of the great early matches from Team Action that really put them on the map, helped them put them on the map. You have the Inner Geekdom Fatal 4 in which Inman wins. We've talked about that a little bit already. And then you have the Fatal 5-way singles qualifier in which Inman had to go through 4 other guys just to get into the tournament to face Roca, to ultimately lose to Roca. And then Harloff versus Snyder at the Collision. This was one match where Harloff, I think, thought he was going to lose and ended up winning that match and then getting that title shot. There's a lot in here, Brad. How did you pick one?
Oh, man. It is hard. But once again, I had to go back to something that gave me a feel, right? Something that emotionally I was connected to. And when the result came, I was shocked and saying, wow. I had to sit in my seat and go, wow, what a hell of a job. And I think that one was the Iron Man Star Wars match. Just for that first time ever for that to happen, the format. And so to go back to another wrestling analogy, first Iron Man match in WWE was between Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart at WrestleMania 12. They went for the full hour without scoring a single fall. So they had to do a 5-minute sudden death. And in that 5 minutes is when Shawn Michaels hit Bret Hart with super kick and pinned him 1, 2, 3, and the boyhood dream came true. For me, that's what this was. It was the same feel. It was back and forth for 25 of those 30 minutes. And then when we got into the final 5 minutes, you knew anything could happen. Anything at all could happen. And for Sam Witwer to win on the very last question, with the clock hitting 0, there's just not a better encapsulation of why we love the Movie Trivia Schmoedown than that particular match. And I'm not a prisoner of the moment because I've had time to digest what happened at Spectacular 2, and I just still think no match, all of these matches gave me the feels, as they say, but no match gave it to me as much as that Star Wars Iron Man match.
I mean, I cannot blame you. It's really between, in my estimation, the Iron Man match and the team title match at Spectacular between Patriots and Above the Line. It's those two matches that I had to wrestle with. And ultimately, I did pick the Patriots and Above the Line match. The Patriots retained their title in one of the most improbable ways I think we've seen. They were on the ropes. They were dead to rights. Above the Line had them nearly that entire match, and they lose it at the very end. It's a spectacular ending, no pun intended, given the venue. Iron Man match, that ending is incredible as well and highly skilled between both Whitwer and Knapsack. But just the way JTE performed in that match, the way Snyder trusted JTE, especially in the war category, above the line. I mean, they've been so dominant starting their career in the Ultimate Schmoedown Team Tournament, making it to the finals, winning that tournament, and then getting their shot against the Patriots. And to lose that match basically because they didn't watch Remember the Titans. I love that match. Even though I love Star Wars, I love this Patriots above the line match because that's going to be a rivalry down the road. But looking at just that match, it's very skilled. It's a very well played match, and it's for all the marbles. It's Patriots trying to keep their streak alive. It's a lot of things going on there above the line. You know, they're the good guys coming into this, and they're trying to dethrone the Patriots, win one for the people, if you will. And it just didn't happen, and it's improbable. The win by the Patriots is almost improbable to me because, like I said, they were dead to rights, and they ended up pulling it out. Incredible stuff, but I can't blame you for picking the Iron Man match. This is one of this whole ballot. It was just there's so many. It's just all tough.
Yeah, it's one of those tough years. It's one of those tough years to pick a winner. But just to me, once again, that Star Wars match was just phenomenal. It was phenomenal. But you know what? You can't go wrong with either choice. Let's go on to the next set of categories. I think these ones are going to be, for me at least, I think these ones are just gimmies. We got Rookie of the Year and Rookie Team of the Year. Let's go Rookie of the Year first. Let's run down these categories.
Yeah, we got Rachel Cushing. She's competing in the singles, the teams, in her geekdom, and she's doing it all this year. Gets a number one contender spot in her geekdom and teams. The teams goes to the semifinals in the singles tournament, and she sets all kinds of records just being in her first year. And then you have Ben Bateman of Team Action. They go on a 4-game win streak to the finals in the Ultimate Team Schmoedown. And then he has a chance to win the qualifier to get into the tournament there, but couldn't pull it out. So he gave a good run. Lon Harris, he had a really good performance against a really good guy in Mark Bernardin, a really good player in Mark Bernardin. There was only one match. Jim Vavida, formerly of Team IGN, now called Team Top That. They go 3-1. They get 3 knockouts with all their wins. And then Tim Franco made his debut against Matt Atchity, and he won via TKO. He's one of the first fans to compete in the Schmoedown. Pretty impressive stuff there. I think I know where we're all going to go with this one, Brad.
Obviously, Lon Harris. No, and respect to Lon Harris, but there's actually only one. There's only one, choice here. And you know what though? My runner-up. Let me give you my runner-up real quick. My runner-up is Tim Franco. And I want to get Tim Franco on this show as well. Tim Franco is a supporter of the Schmoedown Rundown, obviously, but a very memorable win when he beat Matt Atchity in his debut. Went from being late to a party to beating the man behind Rotten Tomatoes. That's pretty impressive, if you ask me. Rachel Cushing is the clear choice. And I don't really even need to explain why. If you watch the Movie Trivia Schmoedown this year, you understand Rachel Cushing, although she didn't have gold around her waist, she is the Rookie of the Year by leaps and bounds.
Absolutely. No one. I'm picking Rachel Cushing as well. It's a done deal. It has been for a long time in my estimation. No one wants to play her because they know they're going to get a hell of a fight, and they're going to come out battered and bruised. And there's no guarantees that they can beat her. She knows a lot. She's proven it in all 3 divisions. Not a lot of people can say that. So she's clearly Rookie of the Year. I do like Tim Franco as your runner-up. I agree. It's an impressive performance, being a fan. I was there to see that match, and I remember just being kind of stunned and also at the same time not too surprised because I had followed Late to the Party and their reactions and seen how well they do. So I wasn't completely surprised, but it's one thing to do it on a couch, and it's completely another thing to do it under the lights in that studio. So as if I put it, I mean, it's a better debut match for sure, opposed to Lon Harris and Ben Bateman. I kind of feel like had he been in the singles, he could have made a run at this Rookie of the Year, but he only had the team thing going for him, which was a great run. But Rachel Cushing, she's just so good, so good.
Yeah, and you know what? Just not to skip over, but to segue just into the next category, the Rookie Teams of the Year. Real quick, that's Above the Line, Blofeld's Cat, Team Action, Nerds Watch, DC Movie News, and Late to the Party. When you talk about Ben Bateman, I think that the two teams in contention really for me in Rookie of the Year are Above the Line and Team Action. And
absolutely.
My first inclination was to say Above the Line. But due to their apparent lack of Remember the Titans knowledge.
Oh.
No, I don't know. I'm really up in the air. I want to say Team Action. I want to say Team Action. That's what my heart wants. My mind is telling me no, but my body's telling me yes for Team Action. As far as Above the Line, obviously, I mean, they won the Ultimate Schmoedown tournament. I mean, that's a big thing right there. And it's hard for in your rookie year and you win the Ultimate Schmoedown team tournament. It's hard not to pick you. So I'm going to go with my mind telling me Above the Line is the Rookie Team of the Year.
Above the Line. Absolutely. These guys were incredible. I mean, they're just super dominant. They're answering 80% of their questions as a team. Thereabouts, not the exact number, but they're in the 80 percentile range. Team Action, they're really good at the game. Unfortunately, their knowledge can be hit and miss in certain situations, and it ended up biting them. And they went head-to-head with Above the Line, and what happened? They did put up a really good fight, but they did lose. Above the Line, they had a chance to win the team title. This is a dangerous team, and this is their first year. They just formed. They just met Sam and Drew for the first time this year, and to go on the run that they did as rookies, there's nothing more can be said about them and the run that they went on. It's it had Above the Line not formed, this could have been Team Action's award, but it's got to be Above the Line.
Yeah, it's got to be Above the Line. If Team Action, I think if they took out top 10 and made them disband, I think it'd be a tighter race, and I think they might have the edge. But Above the Line, ATL, man, they really
yeah, that's right, because Team Action, getting TKO'd there, it's spectacular. Not a good look.
Not a good way to end your year. Not a good way to end your year. But everything else aside from that, they did great. And I have a feeling they might win a different award coming down the pike here in a future category right here. But let's get into the next one. Upset of the year. Upset of the year. Interesting category. Real quick, read us the nominees, Frank.
Yeah, we got, JTE beating McWeenie as an upset of the year. And then it's JTE once again beating Bibiani. You got Roca beating Merle. Harloff beating Merle. I guess whenever Merle loses, that's an upset, always. Late to the Party beating Critically Acclaimed. Stacey Howard beating Mark Ellis. Brianne Chandler beating Clark Wolf. Josh McCouga beating Finn Draco. That's it should have been Finstock, but it was in Draco in the Finstock mask. You got Jay Washington beating Robert Meyer Burnett, and then you have Jason Inman winning that fatal five-way against Ben Bateman, Scott Mance, Elliot Dewberry, and Robert Meyer Burnett. A lot of options here, a lot of worthy upsets. How'd you fare, Brad?
Wow, a lot of worthy upsets. I think there's two that stick out to me on this list, and I'm going to go with my gut here. I'm going to go with Late to the Party beating Critically Acclaimed. Late to the Party, some great reactors, fans of the show, just like you and I, and then getting involved in the Schmoedown. Critically Acclaimed, come on, man. What, do you know Critically Acclaimed stats offhand?
I do not. Okay. I just closed out that tab. Thanks a lot, Brad.
Well, I tried to, you are Frankie Nubbers, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I'm just trying to let you live to your name. But I think that, I just think that Critically Acclaimed obviously had to be the favorites going into that match. I don't remember, but I'm sure they were the favorites going into that match.
Heavy favorites.
By a lot.
Miles.
By a lot. By the metric unit that we know as a shit ton. And they late to the party to beat them was just wow. No, I didn't see it coming. I didn't know the skill of late to the party. I know that they obviously knew their stuff, but I didn't know under the bright lights, what was going to happen. And for them to win this match, I think I'm sure it floored everybody. And then my runner up to that is my guy, Jay Washington, beating Robert Meyer Burnett. I mean, that was just like, whoa. Robert Burnett, former champ, Jay Washington just getting his feet wet. He's been a manager. I really think it could go either way, but my gut wants to say late to the party.
Yeah, that's a good pick. I don't blame you. But I did not go that route. I went something somewhat similar, but I decided to pick Stacey Howard beating Mark Ellis.
No, yeah. You know what? That's another great one.
Mark Ellis is a guy who's won the team tournament with Team Schmoes and with Christian. He's a guy that won the singles tournament last year to face Dan Merle and took him to the wire in the Spectacular last year. This is a guy who's won some big matches and beat some big names, and then to get ousted in the first round of this year's tournament is highly shocking. Highly shocking. And I'm not trying to say that Stacey Howard isn't a good competitor, but she only delved into team action, into team play, and was pretty good. Her and Bryan were a good solid team, and did fairly well in the team league. So for it to transfer over, I thought to singles, I thought it wasn't going to be good enough, and she ended up having a pretty good match against Mark Ellis. It was just it destroyed my bracket. I mean,
bracket buster.
Oh yeah, and it destroyed a lot of people's brackets. I think this is one that a lot of people just did not see coming. These other nominees, JTE beating McWeeny or Bibiani, I think, sure, they're upsets to an extent because he didn't win last year, but I wasn't surprised at any of these other outcomes. I was surprised that Jay Washington did beat Robert Meyer Burnett, but when you look at that match, woof, that one was a rough one. I'll just leave it at that. But late to the party, yeah. I kind of knew what they could do going into that match. Like I said, I'd follow their reactions, and I know how well their knowledge is. So I wasn't completely surprised that they beat critically acclaimed. I'm just surprised at how critically acclaimed lost.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of good upsets on here, and these are definitely matches to go back and watch over again, to relive these and see how events played out, to see how these people, teams, and individuals lost. Rather, it's interesting stuff.
Yeah, definitely interesting. I think all these are, like we said, worthy of being in the category. And this is another, I think, a pick 'em. This is another pick 'em. It could go either way. This next one, I don't believe is a pick 'em. I think there's a clear, defined winner already. I do. And you know what? I am not a biased person. I don't play favorites. I don't think that just because someone's had a hell of a year, that means they should just deserve, everything that's coming to them. I am not even a psychic, but I just predict this one. And I predict it because I think there's a clear-cut winner who is consistent, knows their stuff, and is championship material. I really believe that about this next one. So the category is Schmoedown Podcast or After Show of the Year, and the Schmoedown Rundown is nominated, and I think we are the clear choice. Frank Janisch, what do you think?
I mean, I would certainly like to win this category, but on my official ballot, I will tell you this. I did not pick us, Brad. I didn't.
Yes, I will. You know what? Let me stop you there. I will admit this to you. I did not vote for us either. And I didn't vote for us for the same reason I didn't vote for myself in my senior superlatives at Marabou B. Lamar High School.
Okay.
Because I didn't think that it was right. I didn't vote for myself when I ran for judge of the 5th grade at Edgar Allan Poe Elementary. I didn't do that either.
Okay.
It's because I'm a man of principle. But who did you vote for, Frank Janisch?
I picked all the belts, and I'll tell you why. They bring such a different and fresh approach to covering the Schmoedown that I really enjoy. They do these little skits, these little bits, kayfabe, if you will, with some of the competitors, especially with Mike Kalinowski. They got Heel Watch going on, which is a fun thing they do. They had a little really fun bit with Thad and contracts. If you haven't listened to that, it's actually really, really great. They do a great job putting that together. It's a lot of fun to watch, and it's just a different approach. It's different from how we approach the show or the Schmoedown on this show and some of the other, like Take 3. They do a great job as well. I mean, they got a whole panel of people covering the Schmoedown, and that's a lot of fun to watch them talk about the Schmoedown. And we kind of are somewhat similar arenas when it comes to breaking down the Schmoedown. And Dale the Dude, mostly a guy on Twitter that I see, he's a really fun and interesting personality, and he gives a different take on it. He's kind of got that selfie style, which is really fun.
What's that supposed to mean? What's that mean, Frank?
What do you mean? What does it mean?
What does that Southeast style mean, Frank?
I said selfie, not Southeast. He's not from Boston.
I know.
Selfie.
What
I
did you
said
say?
Selfie. He holds it like he's talking to his phone.
Oh, I
like
thought you said Southie because you were making fun of his accent. And I was about to take great umbrage with anyone speaking down on the South. All right, I say y'all. I say down yonder way. I don't actually say that, but people in my family do. But continue.
Oh, well, I'm glad you wanted to clarify that because that could have got ugly in the comments. But
yes,
that's not what I said.
And I would have been the main one tagging you.
Thank you for having my back. Yeah. So yeah, that's why I picked all the belts for the reasons I explained just a little earlier. So it's a fun approach that they have, and I find it refreshing.
Listen, this is my take on it, and obviously the nominees are Schmoedown Rundown, all the belts, Late to the Party, Take 3 Productions, and Dale the Dude. I think that if everyone could vote for everyone, that would be great because the more people talking about the Movie Trivia Schmoedown, the more people creating content that discusses this thing that we love is better for the Schmoedown. It helps the Schmoedown grow. It helps more people find out about it. If Frank's over here tweeting on his personal timeline about, hey, check out my podcast, Schmoedown Rundown. If we got all the belts doing it, if we got Late to the Party doing it, Take 3 Dale, myself, it helps grow the show. It helps grow the Movie Trivia Schmoedown. So I think this is a fun category. I do encourage people to vote for us. But really, we all win in this category. No matter what. I mean, this is just we do this because we love the Schmoedown. We do this because we're fans of the Schmoedown. So vote for who you'd like, but vote for the Schmoedown Rundown. Let's go into some more categories that have to do with the actual Movie Trivia Schmoedown, the competitors in it. We have Heel of the Year and Babyface of the Year. Let's tackle Heel of the Year first. You got Tom Dagnino, William Bibbiani, Brianne Chandler, Jay Washington, JTE, John Roca for the first half, and Kid Nabsuck, I guess, for the latter portion. Who you going with for Heel of the Year?
I went with JTE. This guy, he just comes at you with the most ridiculous lines you've ever heard. Mispronunciations. I love it. And he is so committed. It's amazing to watch. I love every time he's on camera. I cannot wait to see what absurdity he spews out of his mouth. It's always good for a slogan, a bumper sticker. It's great. And he has a lot of fun with it. I will tell you runner up though. It's your guy, Jay Washington. He's my runner up. He did a great job pissing me off.
There's two things you can do about it. But anyway, yeah, you know what? JT is a great pick, but how do you not pick Bobby Gucci? I mean, not only is he the manager of the year, he is the heel, not only of the year, he's the heel of the cinch. He is the greatest heel in Schmoedown history. Props to John Roca, by the way. Props to the Outlaw for the first half of this year. Now Roca's kind of a tweener. He's kind of a babyface, but he's more of a tweener. And I love John Roca. You know John Roca, he's one of my favorite, if not my favorite, Schmoedown competitor of all time. But I think Bobby Gucci's got this one. Bobby Gucci's got this one locked up. Just throw it in the bag. And while you're throwing it in the bag, make sure it's a Gucci bag.
Gucci
babyface.
dust bag.
A Gucci dust bag, yes. Babyface of the year. Who you got? We got Rachel Cushing, Sam Levine, Christian Harloff, Jason Inman, Emma Fife, John Roca, again, for the second half, and Mike Kalinowski.
Well, I liken this to Star Wars, and that Rachel Cushing is like our Luke Skywalker.
Yeah.
Darth Vader, Ken Knapsack, So Rachel, she's my babyface of the year. Jason Inman was a close second. I would have liked to pick him, but Rachel Cushing, what she had to go through, the way she approached the end of the year antics from Ken Knapsack, a.k.a. Darth Vader, a.k.a. Kylo Ken. Everyone loves Rachel. How can you not?
Yeah, she's the clear-cut babyface of the year. Rachel Cushing's my pick as well. And I think for all the reasons you just laid out, she's our Luke Skywalker. She's so humble with her approach to the game. She's just here to play and do a good job, and that's what I love about Rachel Cushing, the Crusher. Team heel of the year, team babyface of the year. Let's go team action. Patriots, top 10, 6 Degrees, Blofeld, Cat, and critically acclaimed.
I mean, Patriots. How do you end story?
You know what? It's a great pick. And Patriots are the team of the year by far. But the heel team of the year is Team Action. Team Action were so, and I'll tell you why. Patriots are good at talking, right? They can talk some trash. But Team Action, they did it in traditional heel style. When you turn heel in wrestling, you know what the first thing that you do the next week on television is? You come out in a suit. You wear shades inside. You're better than everybody around you. You talk smack to the elderly. You don't show respect to the kids. You spit on a baby instead of kiss it. And that's, to me, what Andrew Guy, Ben Bateman, Team Action do. They embrace the smarmy, cocky heels. They're almost like the original Four Horsemen from WCW. Ric Flair came out styling and profiling. He was kiss stealing and wheeling dealing, a limousine riding, jet flying son of a gun. Woo! Right? And that's, to me, what they embody. They embody that old school heel that no matter what, they're condescending jerks, and you love to hate them. That's why Team Action, for me, is the team heel of the year.
All right, you know what, Brad? You convinced me to switch my vote here.
Hey!
Because everything you laid out is absolutely true, and I forgot that they also do this other stuff with their Team Action page, the Action Army. They put out these other videos talking smack. I got to take that into consideration. They really played the role very well.
They had Sean Waltman,
exactly.
X-Pac, come and tag in for them for a minute to talk some trash.
And spew some. Exactly. So you're right. I don't know what I was thinking there. I'm glad you talked some sense into me. It's got to be Team Action. You're right. I don't know what I.
Thank you, Frank. I appreciate it. Takes a big man to admit when he's wrong, and you were wrong, and I appreciate it.
I didn't say I was wrong. I just was, a little misguided.
Team Babyface of the year, the good guys of the year. Above the line, Team Trek, top 10, DC Movie News, Wolves of Steel, late to the party. This one a bit more difficult for me. I think for me the top 2 candidates were either Wolves of Steel or late to the party. I think late to the party just because you love to see the underdog. You love to see the guy go from in the stands to in the ring. And that's why I kind of loved late to the party. And then Wolves of Steel. Come on now. Mark Riley, Clark Wolf. They're like the 2 most beloved people of all time in the movie trivia Schmoedown, Schmoeville, Schmoes Know, Collider world. And that's why I think they're my baby faces of the year. Wolves
You
of
picked
Steel.
Wolves of Steel? I picked Wolves of Steel as well.
Oh, look at that. Hi-oh.
I mean, I love Wolves of Steel. Love them from day one. 2 of my most favorite people in the Schmoedown. DC Movie News, they're good, but they got Jenna LaQuasta though. I mean, he can spit some fire if you get in his way. Late to the party, if they're more active, I think they could have changed my mind. But giving the presence that Wolves of Steel has in the league or had in the league this past year, I got to give it to them.
Yeah, I just love them. I love the Wolves of Steel. They're great. Frank, we're down to our final 3 categories. These are the big ones. I want you to run down the nominees for not only Team of the Year, we have Single Player of the Year and Overall Player of the Year. Let's start with Teams of the Year. Frank, who are the nominees? And while you're at it, who's your choice?
All right, so we're going to start with the Patriots. Then we got Above the Line, Team Action, Top 10, and Wolves of Steel. this has pretty much been locked up at Spectacular. It's got to be the Patriots. 5-0 this year, 8-0 overall, have defended the title 5 times now. They held the title for this entire year. That's the Patriots. That's all you need to say. I just said everything you need to say.
Yeah, the Patriots. I mean, the Patriots are the clear-cut choice here. I mean, they're the greatest team in the history of the Movie Trivia Schmoedown. They're undefeated in 2017, and their victory at Spectacular was what? It was your team match of the year, right? Or your match of the year?
Yeah.
So I think that, the Patriots, of course, win this category. This next one, though, I think is more difficult. Single Player of the Year. This is a very difficult category, I believe, because everyone on here you can make a strong case for. Why don't you read the nominees and then give me your choice?
I got JTE, Sam Levine, Rachel Cushing, John Roca, Christian Harloff, and Mark Riley. These are the nominees. I ended up going with Sam Levine. He beat Bibiani, he beat Roca, he beat Rachel Cushing, he beat JTE, and he ended up winning, the Ultimate Schmoedown singles title, and then won the actual title, taking it away from Harloff via TKO. That's one of the most impressive runs you will ever see in the Schmoedown. JTE was a close second for me, but it's got to be Sam Levine.
It's a great pick. I can't blame you for it.
Oh, thank you.
JTE.
Thank you very much.
JTE, that would be a fine pick too. You know what? Even if you said Rachel Cushing, I could have agreed with you. John Roca had a pretty good year. Became the champ. Mark Riley became 2-time champ. A lot of good options. For me, though, I'm going to give it to somebody I don't think we've talked enough about. And for me, he's the Single Player of the Year, not just for what he did inside of the Schmoedown, but what he did for outside the Movie Trivia Schmoedown. The man, the myth, the legend, Christian Harloff is my Single Player of the Year. He continued his winning streak. He got a winning streak of 5, including 4 wins in a row in 2017, beating William Bibiani, Jeff Snyder. He won the title from Dangerous Dan Murrell. I mean, he had a hell of a year. Now, okay, he did have the greatest performance in the Spectacular. So what? It's all right. Even Muhammad Ali lost every once in a while, right? Mm-hmm. But for me, though, and in all seriousness, winning the championship in a league that you create, I know some people got on him for it, right? They gave him some flack in the comments. Doing that, a lot of the times the guy who creates it doesn't end up being the best at it, right? I don't know who created basketball, but he's not better than Michael Jordan, right? I don't know who invented the home run, but he doesn't hit them like Hank Aaron. Certain times when you invent, for all intents and purposes, Vince McMahon created pro wrestling as we know it today, but he's no Stone Cold Steve Austin. He's no The Rock. He's no Shawn Michaels. A lot of the times, the guy who creates it doesn't end up being the greatest person to ever do it. Right? I mean, think about even Star Wars, right? George Lucas created Star Wars. But is he the best person to ever direct a Star Wars movie? I don't think so. All right? Because he directed all 3 of the prequels.
Yeah, there you go.
Case closed, right? And then we got my man Larry Kasdan. But anyway, for someone to create a league, for someone to work 24/7 at growing a league, implementing new rules into a league, coming up with new production techniques, working on behind-the-scenes things, like getting Booker T involved in the Movie Trivia Schmoedown, starting this Patreon, bringing it to podcasts, listening to the fans, and then to do all of that, to announce the matches, to book the matches, but then to go on to win the championship. That is impressive. And that's why Christian Harloff is my Singles Player of the Year. These are my thoughts. These are just my thoughts.
Spoken like a true shill. I mean, look it to the very end of the year, I said if Christian wound up winning and retaining the belt, I would have declared him Singles Player of the Year. But he needed to win that belt, and he didn't, and Sam Levine did. And so that's kind of where it really came down to it for me. So I don't really blame you for picking Christian, but it makes it even a little more rough to pick him for me because of his performance in that title match.
I understand, but let's get into overall player of the year. You have JTE, who went 5-0 in team title matches, 5-2 in singles, makes finals of the Ultimate Schmoedown tournament. You had Sam Levine. Obviously, we know his credit to Rachel Cushing. Jason Inman, who makes a team title match. He wins a qualifying match for the Fatal 5-Way, wins the Inner Geekdom match, and wins three straight in the Inner Geekdom division. You have obviously classy Clark Wolf, beat JT Mark Ellis, makes it to the semifinals in the team division, and won the Celebrity Glow match. But for me, the overall player of the year, who did the most and accomplished the most in the Movie Trivia Schmoedown this year is Sam Levine. Sam Levine won the free-for-all. Sam Levine won the singles tournament. He won the team tournament, and then he won the championship. And I understand why he was your singles player of the year, but, for me, he was the overall player of the year because he also won that team tournament. He won the singles tournament. He won the free-for-all. He won the title. He had one of the greatest years in the history of the game. He's the champ walking into Season 5. That's why Sam Levine was not my singles player of the year, but my overall player of the year.
This was a tough one, man. It's between Sam Levine and JT. I think it is for a lot of people. I think it's safe to say. What you just laid out for Sam Levine, absolutely 100% true. That's what makes it so tough to pick JTE as the overall player of the year. The guy played in nothing but title matches in the team division all year long and successfully defended. He came back from a 0-win record last year, goes 5-2, makes it to the singles tournament finals. Yeah, he lost Sam Levine, but he ultimately beat him in the team title match. JTE, comeback player of the year, overall player of the year. What he did, this alone in that title match in Spectacular is damn impressive. But what he's done for the Patriots, the team, he showed up big time in that setting in title matches, in presser situations, and then to have to beat his own teammate in the singles tournament and to get all the way to the finals in that tournament after not being in the tournament last year. So he's come a long way. He's done a lot in teams and in singles. The guy was clearly on a mission to rectify his past season. That's why I have to give it to JT. It wasn't an easy decision, but because it could have easily gone to Sam Levine. It's got to be between these two, but I picked JTE.
Well, hey, those are our picks. The Movie Trivia Schmoedown Awards are right around the corner, and I guess we're going to have to compare scorecards when it's done, Frank Janisch, and we'll see who came out on top. Out of the two of us, who's the ultimate Schmoevillian, and who predicted the awards better. You know what, guys? We're going to wrap. We're going to put a bow on this bad boy. We have a lot to come down the pipeline of this Season 5 of the Schmoedown, Movie Trivia Schmoedown, and the Schmoedown Rundown. We have a lot of great things planned for you on this show, as I'm sure Harloff, Thad Williams, and Associates have a lot planned for you on the Movie Trivia Schmoedown Season 5. Right around the corner, guys. Make sure you follow us on our new Twitter page. That's at SchmoedownRD. The RD stands for Rundown. Make sure you give us a follow there. Frank, where can they follow you?
You can follow me on Twitter at FrankieJ29, and make sure, if you want some more stats, go follow at Schmoedown Stats on Twitter as well to get your Schmoedown stats, analysis, statistics, breakdowns, charts, all that stuff.
Analysis. I like how you said that. You can follow me at Brad Gilmore. Make sure you stay tuned, like I said, to the Schmoedown Rundown. BD is on vacation, and we will be back next week here on the Schmoedown Rundown, and we will see you in the future.